Hi everyone, this is Miss Leah back again with some more STEAM activities for you guys to do at home while you're practicing social distancing. Even though we're all at home, there are still plenty of things that we can do to keep ourselves busy and maybe even learn a little bit along the way. So today what I have for you is I actually have a STEAM challenge for you guys at home. And this challenge is I want to see the best paper airplanes that you guys can make. Now, paper airplanes are pretty easy to make. As long as you have some paper and you know how to fold it in half, you can make a paper airplane. I know a lot of people sometimes feel like they can't make a good airplane or they're not good at folding, but I promise you that if I can do it, you guys can do it too. So my challenge to you guys is I want to see you guys making multiple airplanes, and I want to see which ones are the best, the ones that fly the farthest, than the ones that maybe they can hold the most cargo on them. So what you're going to need is obviously you're going to need some paper. You can also use construction paper. You can try with different types of paper, see which kinds of paper maybe makes the strongest or the fastest airplane. You'll also probably want to use some notebook paper. You can also just use a regular sheet of paper so you can write down your observations, because it's not science until you write it down. And then if you want to try seeing how strong your airplanes are, you'll just need something small, like maybe some pennies or some dimes, or even maybe some little tiny toys if you want to see if maybe your airplane might be strong enough to carry those. You can also use tape, you can use paper clips, and really anything else that you might find lying around your house. See what you can put together. Now I'm going to stop for a second so I can make my own airplanes and I can show you guys what I've got. Alright, so I've got my 3 airplanes. I've got my classic dart. If you've ever made a paper airplane before, this is probably the one that you've made or something like it. I've got my speed glider. And I have got my spy glider. And if you'd like to make any of these kinds of airplanes, there is a link in the description that'll link you to a activity page that'll give you more information on this challenge, as well as give you links to videos that show you how to fold these particular airplanes. And then I've also got my handy dandy little chart where we're going to write down how long the airplane stays in the air and how far it goes. And we're going to do 3 trials for each airplane. Now you can do as many as you want. You could also maybe have different airplanes. Maybe you will make 2 classic darts, but you'll make one with regular paper and one with construction paper, and you'll see how different they can be. Maybe you'll want to have a 3rd column where you see how many pennies you can tape to your airplane before it doesn't fly anymore. You can design this experiment as many ways as you want. But for now, I'm going to see how my airplanes do. Now at this point, what you're going to want to do is find a hallway or an open room, or even out in your backyard, that you can throw your airplanes in as much of a controlled area as you can. What I did is I found a hallway, and I just stood at one end, and I just started throwing them. Now, if you want to be more accurate, you'll definitely want to have something like a stopwatch on a phone to measure how long that they stay in the air. I just kind of counted in my head, and I used a sewing measuring tape to get a sort of an idea of how many inches they were able to go down the hall. You can definitely make this a lot more accurate using more accurate tools. But it is completely all right to just have fun with it. All right, and we are done testing out our airplane. So let's take a look at what results I've gotten. So it looks like our least useful airplane is our little spy glider. You probably saw it do a couple of nosedives. I may have misfolded it, or it may just not be the most helpful of the most flyable of airplanes. It only stayed in the air for as long as 3 seconds, and the farthest it was able to go was 95 inches. which is not very much compared to what some of these other airplanes have done. And for second place goes to our classic dart here. Very often went very far. The furthest it went was 270 inches, staying in the air for at least 3 seconds. Unfortunately, it did not win our little competition here because our speed glider absolutely took the win. Being able to stay in the air for at least 4 seconds. Probably would have been longer if it hadn't run into my walls or if I had had a longer hallway. At the furthest it was able to go, it went 280 inches, just barely beating out the highest score for the classic dart. So it looks like, for my experiments at least, our speed glider is the king of airplanes. And now it's your guys' turn. You can try making the airplanes that I made. You can look up tutorials for different airplanes. Again, you can try making them with different types of paper. You can see maybe how many pennies you can tape to it and how far they can fly with a certain amount of weight on them. You can test out all sorts of things. You can even make it into an art project and doodle all over your paper before you fold it into an airplane. You might even think maybe we could bring it outside and see how the wind will change how far it moves or how long it stays in the air. There are a lot of different ways that you can do these experiments, and the only limitation is your own imagination. So if you make your own airplanes, we'd love to see which ones were the best for you guys. Feel free to share it with us on our Facebook and to keep checking our Facebook for other virtual programming, which we'll be putting up as often as we can while we are closed. Thank you so much for watching. And again, remember, when you are done with your experiment, make sure you clean up so that you have enough space to work on with your next experiment. Have a great day, guys.